Oh yeah. Is it Saturday already? Are we live, ladies and gentlemen? The Mandalorian Season 4 will begin filming very, very soon, a lot sooner than we once expected, and we got a lot of other news to go over regarding The Mandalorian Season 4, whether or not it will be a movie, as that's been the topic of conversation for quite a while now. And of course, I watched Rebel Moon, and I'm going to give you guys my personal opinion on how I really think that movie went and whether or not it is the next Star Wars. And of course, a enormous giveaway today as we finally hit the last giveaway of the holiday season. What's up, guys? It's Mike, a guy who loves Star Wars. This is going to be quite the holiday stream today, as you can tell by my nice hat. Happy holidays to everybody around the Star Wars fandom. And let's have a fun stream today. We're going to talk about Rebel Moon. We're going to talk about The Mandalorian Season 4. We're going to talk about stuff coming in 2024. We're going to talk about it all. So smash a freaking like on this video as you're coming in. And how we doing today, chat? How we doing on this fine Saturday afternoon / evening / whatever it may be for you? Let me open up the chat so I can see what you guys are talking about. How we doing today, chat? How we doing today? We're going to settle this once and for all, whether or not The Mandalorian Season 4 is being turned into a movie or not. And we're going to talk about when it's going to start filming. So we're going to start this stream up with a poll saying, let's go like this. Which would you rather? Which would you rather? A Mando movie, let's just put it that. Mando movie. That's not how you spell movie. Mando movie or The Mandalorian Season 4. Tell me what you think. We're going to leave that poll up there for a while. Jay, how we doing? Dr. Ratty Ross, how you doing? All right, let's dive into what's latest and greatest when it comes to this Mandalorian's 4th season, okay? We're going to see what that poll pans out because I'm very interested to see which one you guys would rather. But we're going to go over a bunch of things before that, okay? Now we got, of course, this massive giveaway today, the biggest of the holiday season giveaways we've been doing every Saturday for the last 5 Saturdays. We've been doing giveaways, and they've been quite awesome, if I do say so myself. We've been giving away some shirts, some pop figures, some Advent pop figure calendars, some cool stuff on these giveaways. And today is the biggest one, as we are giving away quite the prize today. So we are up to, I believe, 25 members, which is insane, absolutely insane. So if you want to become a member, it's only 99 cents, and you get a 1 in 26 chance to win this awesome, cool reward this Saturday. Where in the hell is this thing? Where is it? But it's only 99 cents, and I'm sure you can find 99 cents right on the ground somewhere. Just come on. Oh, there we go. Got it. Found. Oh, that's not it. Oh, wait. Yeah, that's part of it. Hang on. There we go. Okay, cool. This is what we are giving away today, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, we are talking about The Mandalorian Season 4, so it's only right that we give away something from The Mandalorian show itself, and that we are giving away the N1 Starfighter, okay? So we're giving away the N1 Starfighter. It comes with Mando, Grogu, a BD-1 type droid there, and of course, everyone's favorite, what the hell's her name? Pelimoto. I couldn't think of her name for a second. But you're getting the N1 Starfighter, so if you want a chance to win this awesome, cool Lego set, you got to become a member. Or if you already are a member, then you got a 1 in 25 chance to win this later on in the stream, okay? So let's dive into this news. Mando Season 4. Let's do it. The first article we got today is coming from Bespin Bulletin. Now, this is them confirming, or at least they're exclusive, about when the filming of The Mandalorian Season 4 is going to take place. Then we're going to talk about whether or not we think it's going to be a movie or not. All right, so let's dive into this first. Star Wars, The Mandalorian Season 4, to begin filming in February of 2024. And I'm sure, as you guys know, it's almost a new year. Well, it's almost Christmas, but it's almost a new year. And that means February is only 2 short months away. Pretty much less than that. But February is very close. And The Mandalorian Season 4 is going to begin filming in February. So let's read this article and let's break this all down. The fourth season of The Mandalorian was due to begin filming late September of this year in Manhattan Beach Studio, California. However, of course, due to the delays of the writers and actors strikes in Hollywood, which of course I'm sure you guys all know about by now, both strikes have finally been resolved, and Lucasfilm is busy with pre-production on this series once again, as hinted at by one of Din Djarin's actors, Brandon Wayne. So Brandon, of course, is not Din Djarin himself. It's not Pedro Pascal. Brandon's a guy who's under the mask. A couple of weeks ago when he said that the fourth season was gearing up for filming. I've said in an article and podcast recently that filming would begin in the early parts of next year, and now I have had multiple sources tell us when. So, according to at least two sources that Bespin has, The Mandalorian's fourth season is gearing up to start filming sometime in February. It could be very late January, actually, but February seems more realistic from what I've been hearing for a number of weeks. So it could be early January. So we're talking about The Mandalorian season 4 starting very, very soon. Pre-production is... What the... That didn't give you a heart attack. I don't know what will. That was scary as balls. Sorry about that. Okay, moving on. So early January could be very, very soon. Now, when will we see The Mandalorian? Not till at least 2025, obviously, as we talked about 2024's release schedule on last stream. I don't know how long filming is set to last for the fourth season, but if it follows the production of The Mandalorian's third season, it's likely to film for 6 months, meaning it will wrap by August. I've been hearing the February start for a number of weeks. Oh my God! Can we not? Oh my God, I'm gonna lose it. You guys hearing this too? I'm being invaded by the aliens. Okay, hopefully it's done. So The Mandalorian's gonna take 6 months to film, if it stays on track with the third season. This hat is very itchy, I must say. So that would mean it would end in August, and post-production will take, of course, a long, long time. As to when The Mandalorian's fourth season will debut on Disney Plus, I've always heard 2025. Yeah, it's a vacuum, I know, and it's really annoying. And hopefully it shuts off. I've always heard 2025, and I've written about that several times in the past, even before production was halted due to the strikes. I was told The Mandalorian's fourth season was looking to release in the early parts of 2025, and now it's likely to be a little later than first planned, of course, due to the strikes. The Mandalorian's Season 3 debuted on Disney Plus an entire year after the series wrapped in March of 2022, hitting our screens in March of this year. Obviously, at this time, we don't know how long the season will spend in post-production, but if it follows the season before, it could be that we don't see it streaming until the summer of 2025, but that's merely his own speculation. So the weird thing about this is The Mandalorian's second season did post-production very, very quickly. I believe it was like 8 months or less when it came to that second season. So season 3 had a lot longer when it came to post-production, but that was more towards they had to do some reshoots for season 3. They had to go through a bunch of other stuff for season 3. Season 3 was a whole hodgepodgey mess, but that was a whole different scenario. There's no shortage of Star Wars content in 2024 with the release of 2... Oh my God. Where were we? There will be no shortage of Star Wars content in 2024. with the release of 2 live-action series, The Acolyte and Skeleton Crew, the latter of which is set during the time of The Mandalorian, Skeleton Crew will be, and 2 animated series, The Bad Batch Season 3 and Tales of the Jedi Season 2. Pretend it's a broken TIE fighter. Honestly, it sounds like I'm being invaded by something or someone, and it's quite annoying. Just going to start throwing stuff at it eventually. Eventually it'll stop. So The Bad Batch Season 3 and Tales of the Jedi Season 2. This was all confirmed in our last stream. We talked about it. In terms of live action series, I believe The Acolyte will release first, and I suspect it'll be sometime in the summer of 2024, probably August, given Lucasfilm's affinity to release series in that month, as I've said in the past. Now, The Acolyte arrives later in November, and Season 2 of Andor has unfortunately slipped into 2025. So what's weird about this is the fact that Bespin's saying that Skeleton Crew will come out in November of next year and that The Acolyte will come out in August. Does that mean we're not going to get a Star Wars project from October, which was when Ahsoka ended, all the way until next August? That just sounds way too far apart and just doesn't sound right at all. I think, if anything, if this is true and The Acolyte does come out all the way in August, that would be a disaster. But I think The Bad Batch will come out before. And The Bad Batch is 16 episodes. Usually they double up a few episodes, so it'll probably be like 14 weeks of content. So that show will run for a while. But the next live-action content from Star Wars on Disney Plus, we might not see until August of next year, which sounds very far away. Last week, it was reported by Jeff Snyder at the Hot Mic podcast that the 4th season of The Mandalorian will be turned into a film instead of remaining as a Disney Plus series. This was reported from Snyder following a report from Making Star Wars that was released back in July. So in July, Making Star Wars was saying that they heard that The Mandalorian Season 4 would be turned into a movie, and actually Jeff Snyder was saying, no, it won't. Now it's completely reversed. Making Star Wars shared in July that he had heard that Disney and Lucasfilm executives were considering various options for the 4th season of The Mandalorian, and that turning the season into a film was simply an option being considered, though it was not an option Disney executives liked. Though it was that they liked. The July report mentioned that the option was being considered due to the strikes that were going on at the time, and that the idea could be taken more seriously depending on how bad the production of The Mandalorian Season 4 will be impacted by the strikes. So they were really just... I'm taking off the hat, guys. I apologize. It's just too itchy. They were really just... putting the headphones on. They were really just worried about how long these strikes were going to go on for. They didn't know. They were really in the dark, and they didn't know what was going on with these strikes. So they were trying to really just weigh their options, whether or not they should turn The Mandalorian's 4th season into a movie or just keep it as a show. They did not know, which is kind of concerning. But let's keep reading. Following the Snyder's report on Friday, I had 2 sources reach out to me over the weekend to tell me that The Mandalorian Season 4 is still a Disney Plus series and not a movie, and reaffirming the plans to start filming a new season was still in February. One source remained confident that the next Star Wars movie being that led by Daisy Ridley, which will see Ridley return to Rey Palpatine in the film, being written by Stephen Knight, who wrote Peaky Blinders, and directed by Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy, who directed 2 episodes of Ms. Marvel. The Rey movie is set 15 years after the events of The Rise of Skywalker and will follow Rey as she attempts to construct a new Jedi Order. And from what I've heard, the Rey movie is still looking to film sometime in 2024 at Pinewood Studios in London. So, Rey movie is still on track to be the next Star Wars movie. And that was a big, big, big no-no for a lot of Star Wars fans. They don't want to see this movie at all, especially not the first movie since the sequel trilogy was released. It's just a bad idea. However, The Mandalorian being turned into a movie was giving a lot of fans hope that that would be the first movie released and not the Rey movie, and that would be a lot better for a lot of fans. However, now we're back to square one. Rey movie is still going to be the first movie released, and The Mandalorian Season 4 will be a show. So now we're going to read an article about why people were so confident that The Mandalorian Season 4 would be turned into a movie, and why this actually isn't the case, and that we're still going to get The Mandalorian as a show. Okay, so this is coming from the direct. Is The Mandalorian Season 4 getting turned into a movie? Star Wars speculation explains. So this explains pretty much all of it and why it's even being proposed that this will be a movie. So, recent rumors claim that Season 4 of The Mandalorian is no longer Disney Plus bound. In the years since 2019's Rise of Skywalker left theaters, The Mandalorian has largely been the focus of the Star Wars franchise, with its ongoing seasons and ever-expanding Mandoverse of connected spin-offs on Disney+. Of course, Mandalorian has taken over Star Wars as the Star Wars. A lot of people didn't like the sequel trilogy, and The Mandalorian brought them back to Star Wars. However, recent Lucasfilm developments, coupled with the underwhelming viewership of The Mandalorian's third season, sparked speculation about the studio's intention for the show's upcoming fourth season. Now, it's not even just that. Like, sure, Season 3 didn't perform as well as Season 1 or Season 2, but Season 3 also ended in a way where it kind of just was an end cap to those first 3 seasons. Moff Gideon dies, who is the main villain of all 3 seasons. It ends in a sort of way where all the Clone Wars and Rebels arcs of Bo-Katan and the Mandalorians having to fight for their planet at a constant civil war. Finally, the Mandalorians are back together and reclaim their planet, defeating the evil empire that was on their planet. So it was a very good end cap to that whole story of Mandalorians coming together due to the leading of Din Djarin and Bo-Katan to retake their home world. The destruction of the Darksaber, that all is in the past now. And Din and Grogu are now helping out the New Republic. They're helping out the people that they were bounty hunting against. So it's really come full circle. There was a full arc of 3 seasons, and it seemed like it was over. So Season 4 would be like a start of a new story at some point. And that's why fans kind of wanted it to be geared more towards a movie. That's just how it seemed to be going. But let's keep reading. So why did Star Wars fans think that The Mandalorian Season 4 would be a movie? The theory that Mando Season 4 was being turned into a Star Wars movie has its roots in Star Wars Celebration 2023, when Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy announced Star Wars was finally returning to the theaters. Among the trio of films that Kathleen Kennedy announced was a Mandalorian crossover movie helmed by The Mandalorian and Ahsoka showrunner Dave Filoni. What's up, Ian? How we doing? And confirming that the Mandoverse is no longer limited to streaming because it is coming to the movie theater with Dave Filoni's movie. This bombshell of news was followed by The Mandalorian's Season 3 finale, which left audiences disappointed, confused, and even concerned about this show's future. During the Hollywood strikes, speculation of the Season 4 being reconsidered as a big screen feature leaped to hyperspeed thanks to rumors and unverified reports claiming just that. Unverified reports is what they're saying. Returning CEO, Disney CEO Bob Iger, intention to decrease streaming output and focus on event films only led credence to the claims, especially since a switch of mediums could also make financial sense. So here's the thing. Streaming, although they have a lot of subscribers on Disney Plus, doesn't make them a lot of money. When you're making a $200 million Andor show and nobody's watching it, it's hard to make money. But when you make a $200 million Star Wars movie, even if it is the sequel trilogy, which a lot of people didn't like, it still makes $1 billion in the box office and you're still making money. So when it comes to Star Wars, it seems like a no-brainer to kind of switch gears from any show to a movie to just make more money. As a business sense, as a business mind like Bob Iger's supposed to be for this company, it makes sense to have Star Wars shows turn into movies so they can make more money. Because money seems to be a very important key to the equation over at Disney. Not only has speculation continued to circulate, but it was seemingly reinforced when Lucasfilm named Dave Filoni its chief creative officer, tasking him with the future of Star Wars television and movies to give him further control. So, of course, we've talked about this at length. Dave Filoni's promotion is extremely important to future Star Wars content, whether that's TV shows, movies, comics, whatever it is, video games. he's going to be involved in all of it. From start to finish, he's going to be involved. Now, he's not going to be directing every episode. He's not going to be writing every episode, but he will be involved in the back end as an executive producer and as the chief creative officer, meaning he is the top dog when it comes to creatives over at Lucasfilm. And that's enormous. Still, it's important to note that Filoni's Mandoverse movie is his only movie in development. Meanwhile, Season 4 of The Mandalorian, which was supposed to begin filming in October, before the strikes, of course, is expected to begin production in early 2024, which we just talked about could be February of 2024. So, is the movie the way for The Mandalorian's 4th season? Since The Mandalorian Season 3 struggled, and in the light of Disney Plus's string of box office flops, reimagining the show's 4th season as a film could accomplish several things. For instance, Mando and Grogu on the big screen would likely be a box office draw and a breath of new life into the narrative because, of course, again, Season 3 ended in a way where it ended the arc that they went on for 3 seasons. Plus, a film would give Dave Filoni a dry run ahead of his Mandoverse combination event. Here's the thing. I think if The Mandalorian's 4th season were to be turned into a movie, it would be Jon Favreau directing, not Dave Filoni. So Dave Filoni would still get his own movie, but Jon Favreau would get a sort of prequel to that movie. All while giving Star Wars audiences a film sooner rather than Daisy Ridley's Star Wars movie, which isn't expected until 2026. Now, obviously, this Mando movie wouldn't be released until 2026 as well. So given all that has transpired with Star Wars throughout 2023, the speculation is understandable. However, there are a few problems and concerns with this theory. Apart from the lack of confirmation from Lucasfilm, there has yet to be any evidence to support this claim. Not only is Season 4 slated to begin filming in the upcoming months, but before Season 3 premiered, Jon Favreau claimed that he has already written the 4th season. At the time when he surely would have known that Dave Filoni's upcoming jump to theatrical release. So he would have already known about Dave Filoni's movie, and there would have already been talks about maybe a Mando movie, but The Mandalorian Season 4 has already been written. Jon Favreau wrote it while they were producing Season 3. There's also the fact that The Mandalorian is known for the serialized format. Changing the formula ahead of the combination event film would be a huge gamble and likely one neither Disney nor Lucasfilm would be in favor of. Fans should expect to learn more about the fate of The Mandalorian's 4th season as its filming date approaches, which is most likely going to be in February. Okay, so that's a lot. What do we think? A movie, not a movie? What side are you on? Do you think this will be turned into a movie? Do you think it will remain a show? Either way, it's going to begin filming in either late January or February of next year. So just in a few short months, we're going to be seeing set photos leaked. We're going to be seeing some other crazy leaks about what this 4th season will be about because we're going to be filming. When Star Wars begins filming, of course, they keep a lot of secrets. They keep a lot of Luke Skywalker's going to be in it a secret, of course. They keep all this stuff a secret. However, there is no stopping leaked set images. There's no stopping leaked plot. Like, it still leaks out. We're going to get a ton of information come February when the beginning of filming for this show happens. Next year is going to be a lot of course, shows with Skeleton Crew, Acolyte, Bad Batch, and Tales, but it's going to be a lot of leaked information. With the Rey movie starting to film, with The Mandalorian's 4th season starting to film, we're going to get a lot of stuff going on. So I want to know what you guys think. Do you want this to be a movie or do you want this to be a show? Let's finally put this to bed because honestly, I think it'll be a show. I think Season 4 is going to remain Season 4, although I really, really wish it wouldn't. My take is this. If you make The Mandalorian's 4th season a movie, that'll be the first of a trilogy because then you'll get Dave Filoni's movie and then there'll be a third because Star Wars doesn't work in 2 movies. That's just not how it works. That's not the Star Wars that we know. It's trilogies. Not only would a Mandoverse trilogy please fans that love The Mandalorian, It would also please fans who really dislike the sequel trilogy. It would give them a sequel trilogy that they always wanted that involves Luke, Leia, and Han shortly after the events of Return of the Jedi, not years and years and years later after all hell broke loose. Luke already lost his Jedi Temple. Han and Leia have been split up. They had a kid who turned to the dark side. Palpatine somehow returns. Like, it'll give the people who really, really dislike the sequel trilogy something to latch on to. But what do we think? What do we think? Jay says, yeah, I hear the vacuum. Yeah, that vacuum was really annoying and it pissed me off, but it's okay. It's gone now, I think. Dr. Ratty Ross says, pretend it's a broken TIE fighter. Hopefully it doesn't come back. Ian says, hi, Michael. What's up? How we doing? Catherine says, hi, Mike. How's it going? Honey Badger says, I'm in school right now, and unfortunately I'm unable to return with gifts, but I did remember to the channel. May the force be with you. Oh, Honey Badger is back as a member. You know what that means. Honey Badger, welcome back to the people who love Star Wars. Yes. Honey Badger, that means you have a 1 in 25 chance of winning that N1 Starfighter later on in the stream. That is fun. That is awesome. Cool. GGM says, hi. What's up, GG? How we doing? Catherine says, a Mando show would give more screen time for the characters. That's true. 8 episodes of a show with about 45-ish minutes of runtime for each episode would give a lot more screen time. 100%. Yes. But a movie would allow not only for more of a budget, because, of course, when you're going into the box office, you're going to make more money, so that you get more money to make the project. The Mandalorian's first 3 seasons, I believe, are all around $100 to $150 million in budget. If it were to be turned into a movie, you're talking about $250 million to $300 million in budget. Now, it's a shorter content, but it could be more cool, for lack of a better word. But yes, if you want more time with the characters, a show is probably where you're gonna want to stay. And here's the thing, though. With a movie, you're going to have no filler. It's going to be 2.5, 3 hours of straight story. With a show, with every season of The Mandalorian staying true to this formula, there will be filler episodes. The Mandalorian Season 1 had them. The Mandalorian Season 2 had them. The Mandalorian Season 3 had them. There will be filler episodes. That's just bound to happen in an 8-episode show about a bounty hunter going on bounty hunting missions. That's just what's going to happen. So when you turn it into a movie, there's going to be less of that. Honey Badger says, yeah, glad to be home, baby. Well, glad to have you back, Badger. We're very glad to have you back. And, of course, chance to win that awesome N1 Starfighter. So, I think we must settle this, and I know the poll has 71% of you guys right now wanting the movie rather than the 4th season, but it's going to be a season 4. I think that's just what's going to happen. It's going to be the 4th season, and that's how it's just going to end, okay? Now, we got one more thing. Hang on. Honey Badger says, it feels a lot more like Christmas here. Love to be home. There you go. Yeah, we got all the Christmas decorations. Of course, the Christmas awesome cool thing. And I wore the Santa hat as long as I could. It was too itchy. Here, we'll put it somewhere. Over the microphone. We'll put it somewhere. I don't know. Oh, can we put it on C-3PO's head? I don't think we can. That's okay. Whatever. We'll put it over there. Yeah. Season 4, no movie. I have spoken, and that's final. Okay, there you go. That's final. Season 4 is definitely what's looking like it's going to happen. So, with that being said, potential release dates, casting, and everything that we know about The Mandalorian, this is the final Mando Season 4 bit we got going on here. So let's zoom in on it, and let's read this up. All right. Let's do this. Boom. Okay, cool. The Mandalorian's Season 4, potential release date, cast, and everything that you need to know. So here we go. The Mandalorian, let's zoom in one more time. One more time. Much better. There we go. The Mandalorian Season 4 is apparently happening. although Star Wars fans aren't convinced given how conclusive the season 3 finale felt. Again, the third season felt like an end cap to the story, but we're still getting a fourth season. The latest season of Disney Plus show concluded on April 19th, and the episode wrapped up with the stories across the series. The stories wrapped up the storylines across the series to date. However, showrunner Jon Favreau previously confirmed that he has already written season 4 back in May of 2022. When he received the news, Jon Favreau also teased that there were more crossovers in Din Djarin and Grogu's future. As Dave Filoni's doing Ahsoka, it's very much informing the writing of what I am doing for the fourth season. So, of course, the events of Ahsoka, now that we've seen Ahsoka, are going to play into this fourth season of Mando. We're going to see Thrawn and what he's doing with the Star Wars galaxy in The Mandalorian. He's going to be regrouping with the remnant of the Empire, with Captain Pelion and all this other stuff, and they're going to regroup and be able to take down the New Republic, and Din and Grogu are going to be right smack dab in the middle of all that. With Season 3 wrapping up all those loose ends, this makes more sense in the light of news that Dave Filoni will be directing a new Star Wars movie that serves as a combination of all the stories to date from this era. So the Book of Boba Fett, Ahsoka, Mando, and Skeleton Crew will all be brought into this one movie. What's weird is, although Book of Boba Fett was kind of like shaky for a lot of fans, I liked it more than most. We haven't seen Boba or Fennec or any of them since that show. And that show was 2 years ago now, something like that. So it's been a while since we last saw Boba Fett, and I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that we're gonna see him in season 4 of Mando, but again, that's still not for another 2 years almost. So you're talking about at least 4 years of not seeing Boba Fett in this story, and that just seems a little weird to me, honestly. Do you guys want to see more Boba Fett? Because here's the thing: a lot of people have been turned off since Boba was turned into Beta Fett, as a lot of fans have been calling him. But do you want more of Boba Fett? Like, do you want him to kind of come back to reality, be the badass bounty hunter that we once remember? Even, here's the thing. When he shows up in The Mandalorian Season 2, and he's smashing stormtroopers' helmets, and he's all badass Boba, that's awesome. There's a big difference between that Boba and the Boba that we see in the Book of Boba Fett. But do you guys want to see more of him? Because we haven't seen him in a while, let's be honest. And he's going to be in the movie. We know he's going to be in the movie. So would you want to see him in Mando Season 4 or maybe even Skeleton Crew, or who knows? You tell me. So we're pretty sure that The Mandalorian Season 4 will happen. Well, yeah. But we might just be in for a bit of a wait. While we wait, here's everything that we need to know. Be warned, there's some major spoilers ahead for the Season 3 finale. Well, of course, we've all seen the Season 3 finale. No, of course. Ian says, I don't get the obsession with Boba Fett, to be honest. Okay, let's actually just touch on that for a second before we read the rest of this. Boba Fett is such a weird character, okay? Boba Fett has this crazy following. Everybody loves Boba Fett from the original trilogy. Boba Fett's screen time in the original trilogy, let's look up, let's get the specifics. Boba Fett screen time original trilogy. Okay. Boba Fett's screen time in the original trilogy. Anybody have any guesses? What's your guess for how much screen time Boba Fett, the legendary bounty hunter Boba Fett that fans love so much, how much screen time do you think he got in the 2 movies, Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, that he was in? Without looking it up. Don't look it up. Don't look it up. Don't look it up. Don't be a cheater. Don't do that. How much screen time do you think Boba got? Got the Mando mug for today. 2 minutes, Catherine? 2 minutes. You don't think you got more than Boba for 2 minutes? Ian says 5 minutes. Getting a little bit closer. Getting warmer. This is a good cup, but it's not the good cup, you know? I appreciate that. No other guesses? Boba Fett has never intended to be a tentpole of the Star Wars brand. That much was clear from his first 4 lines of dialogue and 6.5 minutes of screen time across the original trilogy. So not only did he only have 4 lines, but he was only in the damn movies for 6.5 minutes. Jay said 8. So Ian was closest with 5. Actually, no, you guys tied because you were both a minute and a half away. 6.5 minutes with 4 lines. People fell in love with this character. They absolutely love the character. It's probably just because of his look. I mean, he looks so cool. Boba Fett has a cool look to him. He's a bounty hunter. His 4 lines were quite memorable lines. And, of course, he takes Han Solo in Carbonite back to Jabba, and that's how Return of the Jedi starts. He falls into the Sarlacc pit. People fell in love with the character, but he only has 6 minutes of screen time and 4 lines. So when you develop a character more than that, some fans weren't all that pleased. They weren't happy about that, to say the least. So with only 6.5 minutes of screen time and 4 lines, Boba Fett got more screen time and people didn't like it, to say the least. But let's keep going. The Mandalorian Season 4 potential release date. When will The Mandalorian Season 4 be on Disney+? Even though we know it's coming, we don't yet have a confirmed release date for this 4th season. Usually we'd say you could expect a new season to debut later in the year after the first season premiered November 2019 and the second one in October of 2020. However, Season 3 was delayed until March of 2023, and now it looks like the 4th season will be coming sometime. Wait, what? Will be sometime coming too. So, the first and second season of The Mandalorian had less than a year in between each other. Less than a year. But the second and third one had almost 2.5 years, I guess. 2.5 years in between each other. So it was a way bigger gap. Now that has a lot more to do with behind the scenes struggles with Gina Carano being fired and the new Rangers of the New Republic being canceled and all that stuff. So that is kind of more the reason as to why that's a way bigger gap. However, the 4th season might be going down a similar route with a longer gap in between the seasons. AF4777A7, love the name by the way, says, do you read Star Wars comics and books? Yes, I do. Now, I can't say I've read all of them, but I have read quite a few. Why? What are we thinking? What's your favorite comic or book? Or do you read, hey, AF4777A7, do you read Star Wars comics or books? So, in light of the strikes in Hollywood this year, filming may have been pushed back from its scheduled September start date, you think, even though the scripts are already reportedly complete. I know that John has written the scripts. I know he's excited about continuing the stories and telling the stories in this world. And so when and how that happens, considering everything we will see. This is what executive producer Rick Famuyama told Deadline. He said, it's certainly coming. I just don't know exactly when. So the strikes, of course, pushed it back, but even though the scripts are written for this 4th season, it doesn't mean that, it just doesn't mean that it's going to be done very quickly. It takes a long time to create sets for a show, create costume designs, all this other stuff. It takes a long time. So even though the scripts are written, doesn't mean it's going to come out really, really fast. Famuyama, I know it's probably not Famuyama. That's just how I pronounce it, okay? Okay? Expanding on the Season 4 production press to Collider, he said, I'd be shocked if they just stopped making them at this point. But yeah, I think that's just the way the shows come together. The process around the show, I know that they are deep into starting to prep and do pre-production process. Now, exactly when it goes to lens and things start shooting, I don't know. So Rick says that pre-production has started. He's confirming what we already know. Pre-production on this 4th season has already begun. That means they're making the sets. They're doing all this pre-viz stuff with the volume, I'm sure. But when they really start filming, he doesn't know. Now, it hasn't been confirmed yet, but we did talk about this February possible start date. While Hollywood writers have officially ended their 5-month strike. 5 freaking months is crazy. After the union reached an agreement with the studios, the actors are still on the picket lines, and Pedro Pascal himself was recently spotted holding up a SAG-AFTRA strike with a fellow member of the union. Now, of course, this is a little bit older of an article, so those strikes have ended as well. But this is still giving us very good information. If the actors union does reach a deal, which they did, with the studios before the end of the year, which they did, Season 4 of The Mandalorian is able to begin filming as previously planned. We could expect it to land in late 2024, perhaps around the October-November date of the first 2 seasons. Now, we know for a fact that this is wrong, as we know that it's going to be in 2025. So, now, this is talking about characters who could be back in Season 4. Now, obviously, Din Djarin and Grogu live to fight another day, so you can expect Pedro Pascal back as the titular Mandalorian, if it refers to him anymore. Let's talk about that a little bit. Do you guys think that Bo-Katan has taken over Mando? Like, Season 3 had a heavy focus on Bo-Katan. Let's be honest, it did. But I think, and tell me if I'm wrong, The Mandalorian is still referring to Din Djarin. If not Din Djarin, then Grogu. I don't think Bo-Katan is going to be the main character of this 4th season, by any means. Even if he says that news of his return is currently a mystery, there's such so this is Pedro Pascal talking now. This is going to be Pedro Pascal talking. Now, Pedro has been very elusive when it comes to Star Wars. He wants to do other projects. He's doing the Last of Us. He's doing Gladiator 2. He's doing possibly Fantastic Four. I think we'll hear very soon if he's going to be in that role or not. But he is doing a lot of other things. And Star Wars opened him up to that. Of course, he was a big actor before. He was in Game of Thrones. He was in Narcos. But being in Star Wars opens a million different doors. And he's been very vocal about how he doesn't like that his face isn't shown. He's talked about it many, many times, where he wants his face to be shown more. In the Mandalorian way is to not show your face, of course. So he's going to go take priorities somewhere else. With The Last of Us, with Gladiator 2, with Fantastic Four. He's going to go do other things. That's not good when it comes to Star Wars, because not only is there going to be Mando Season 4, but there's going to be Dave Filoni's movie. And I'm sure at some point in all that content, we're going to see Din Djarin's face again. I wouldn't be surprised if they killed the character off in some crazy way in the movie, but that would also involve seeing his face again. This is what Pedro had to say. There's such preciousness around even saying that I'm signed up for a 4th season if it's already written, he explained to Radio Times. I'm naturally a blabbermouth, but I really get protective of it because I get the thrill out of the surprise that are in store for the audience. Of course, you want to keep stuff a secret. You obviously want to keep stuff a secret, so he's not going to confirm that he's coming back for a 4th season. Before we go into others' expected character returns, I warn that we will be heading into spoiler territory from here on out. Do not read past this, blah, 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 blah. We're reading past it, okay? So if you don't want spoilers for the 4th season, or possible spoilers, because we don't really know anything about this 4th season yet, then, I don't know, close your eyes and your ears. After the death of Paz Vizsla in the penultimate episode of The Mandalorian's 3rd season, we were prepared for more heartbreaking deaths in the finale, but our heroes all survived. I remember going into that finale, a lot of people thought that the armorer was a spy. A lot of people thought that Bo-Katan could die. I'm not rhyming on purpose, guys, I promise. A lot of people thought that Din Djarin could possibly die, and there was a lot of speculation about who will die, and it only seemed to be Moff Gideon. Now that Mandalore is back in control of the Mandalorians, expect to see more of Katie Sackhoff's Bo-Katan, Emily Swallow as the armorer, and Simon whatever as Axe Woves among them. Those are the, of course, Mandalorians that helped take over. One person who probably won't be back is Giancarlo Esposito as Moff Gideon. Considering the combined force of Din, Bo, and Grogu, as well as the flaming ship that we saw him burn to a crisp, he's probably not coming back. So, although he did come back time and time again in those first 3 seasons, he's not going to be back for the 4th. Other potential returners for Season 4 include Carl Weathers as Greef Karga, Amy something as Pelimoto, and Paul as Carson Teva. Sorry, not even gonna try. Although, as mentioned above, nothing has been confirmed yet. Although, let's be honest, guys, they were working with the New Republic at the end of season 3. You're gonna see Carson Teva. Carson Teva was in Ahsoka. You're gonna see Carson Teva. So, the Mandalorian's 4th season plot. How does it go from the Mandalorian season 3 ending to setting up this 4th season? Now, Ahsoka is going to be a lot of that. So I don't know what they say in this article, but we're going to talk about Ahsoka in a second. The truth is, the Mandalorian season 3 finale felt more like a final season than something that will set up what's to come. After Moff Gideon was defeated, Din Djarin adopted Grogu as his son, Din Grogu. As a result, Grogu is now Din Grogu and a Mandalorian apprentice. The duo headed back to Navarro, where Grief Karga gifted them a cabin outside of town to live in. Now that he got Grogu to train, Din Djarin tells Carson Teva that he is going to be more selective on his assignments, offering to work for the New Republic on a case-by-case basis. But it's an arrangement that'll just be kept between him and Carson. Navarro has a new marshal too, but it's not Din Djarin. It's a rebuilt IG-11 voiced by Taika Waititi. And that's where we leave off in the season, with Din Djarin and Grogu chilling in their new home. By the way, this is quite the scene. I know a lot of people made fun of it because of course, the Looney Tunes ending of the fading to the circle, but that's how all of the original trilogy movies ended as well. But this is cool. I mean, this is cool. Your pal Joe, what's up? Hang on. Your pal Joe says, Merry Christmas, everybody. Merry Christmas right back to you, your pal Joe, and everybody else who celebrates Christmas or celebrates any other holiday. Happy holidays to you guys. The 4th season has a relatively clean slate to start from. And we can expect the Star Wars series going forward to build to Filoni's movie. The standalone film will tie up the era of Star Wars storytelling, but could also spin off new series as well. Talking to Variety after the announcement at Star Wars Celebration, Filoni spoke about what the thread will be that ties together all of the Disney Plus series to date. On a base level, I would say the coming conflict, the growing idea that the Empire wasn't as defeated as people want to believe, and that the remnant is out there, he noted. This is, of course, all before Ahsoka was released. What's up, Hal? How we doing? Or Hale? Is it Hal or Hale? Help me out, please. How we doing? But this is, of course, all before Ahsoka was released. This is what Dave was saying at Star Wars Celebration. We saw that from the very beginning of The Mandalorian and how Gideon was plotting. There was always people that were willing to undermine something that the Republic was trying to build and put back on its feet. Filoni continued, I grew up with a lot of stories in the expanded universe or legends that were exploring what happened after Return of the Jedi. He's, of course, talking about it's Hale. That's what I thought. He's, of course, talking about Heir to the Empire trilogy. Yeah. There has been this for fans, ideas of the New Republic and the remnant of the Empire and the conflict persisting after Return of the Jedi. Even though the heroes won, they were more in control. What did the control look like? And since The Force Awakens is 30 years out from Return of the Jedi, we have room to tell another story. That's what yes, into this time period, sure. So here's the thing. He talks about The Force Awakens having 30 years from Return of the Jedi and having all this room to tell a story. That's why I think that we'll be getting a trilogy rather than just one movie. Dave Filoni wants to tell a full story here. It's not just going to end with his movie, because his movie still has 20 more years until this sequel trilogy. There's still 20 more years until the sequel trilogy. So you're talking about so much of Luke's Jedi Temple, Ben Solo's fall, Palpatine pulling the strings, Snoke rising to power, the First Order rising to power. All this stuff still has to happen. And with The Mandalorian, it hasn't. Don't expect season 4 to be the end of the main show, not according to Jon Favreau anyway. So we might be even getting a season 5 after. I think the beauty of this is it's the middle chapter of a much larger story. This is what he told Favreau told Total Film. And although we have resolution over time with these characters, I think that how these characters fit into the larger scope and scale. But it's not like there's a finale that we are building up to or have in our mind. Quite the contrary. I love for these stories to go on and on. And so these characters potentially could be with us for a while. And I really love telling these stories in their voices. I love the way the adventures unfold, and I'm looking forward to doing much more. So, of course, Star Wars is a galaxy where there really is no end. You have the original trilogy, which seemed to be an ending with Return of the Jedi. Then it goes into the sequel trilogy, which seemed to be an ending, but now you're getting a Rey movie. There really never seems to be an ending. What's up, Star Wars Kata? How we doing? So when it comes to Star Wars, it's an ever-expanding story with ever-expanding characters and character arcs and character development. So even with closures to stories of either a death or whatever, you still have more and more stories to be told. So whether or not Din Djarin's character dies in Season 4 or the movie or Season 5 or Season 6 or whenever he dies, Grogu's character is going to continue to go on. So it's never really an end to these stories. As Season 3 was airing, Favreau was asked how long the show could run. And it sounds like the show could run long after Season 4. This is what he said. I have a blast, and I love writing with Dave, and I love how the characters develop over time. This is what he said on Dagobah Dispatch podcast. I also love that there are other stories now being told in that same time period, like Ahsoka and Skeleton Crew. And of course, we still don't know much about Skeleton Crew, but I'm sure we'll learn a lot more. Now, it feels like there's a larger context for me to understand. We just knew what happened after The Mandalorian, and we know what happens before. Talking about the sequel trilogy and the original trilogy. And there's a lot to draw upon from additional stories that were told outside of what we consider official canon now. But it's held very near and dear to fans who've been at this for decades. Again, talking about the Heir to the Empire trilogy, talking about Legends characters, and talking about bringing Thrawn and all these other characters into the mainstream of Star Wars canon. They've been talking about this for such a long time. This is an older article. This is all from older interviews with Jon Favreau, with Dave Filoni, with these Rick Famuyiwa, with these executive producers on these stories. They're all talking about the same thing. They're all talking about Legends being adapted into canon in this time period in between the original trilogy and the sequel trilogy that will give a full and concise story of the Heir to the Empire, of Thrawn, because that was all before even Ahsoka was released. So now that Ahsoka has been released, Thrawn is back in the Star Wars galaxy. Season 4 of The Mandalorian, what's it going to be about? Thrawn. It's going to be about Thrawn becoming the heir to the Empire, taking over with the remnant of the Empire, taking over the galaxy. And how that affects Din and Grogu. How that affects the New Republic, because now they work for the New Republic. You know? We got a bunch of new faces in the chat, so let me catch up on some chats. Ian says, yeah, if it's filming in 2024, then we're not seeing it till at least 2025. Yeah, I think you'll see Mando Season 4 after Andor midway through 2025. So like June, July, August, I'd guess. Cappy, what's up, Cappy? Says, bet it's Force Ghost Jango Fett. What? What's Force Ghost Jango Fett? Catherine says, react in different situations. Seems like filler is a negative thing for X, Y, Z, and alphas? What the hell are you talking about, Catherine? Sorry, George and I are boomers. I have no clue what you're referring to. Cappy says, Din Djarin bathes in the living waters again. I think Din Djarin's going to be a goner soon. I don't know. What do you guys think? Like, here's the thing. My point of view is Pedro Pascal is not having a good time with Star Wars. He'll come in and do the voice work, but he's not really having a good time when it comes to the Star Wars content that's being created. He wants to go show his face, make more money doing other things. With The Last of Us, with Gladiator, with Fantastic Four, with whatever else he can do where he's showing his face, he'd rather go do those things. So I personally think that Din Djarin's character is going to come to an end fairly soon. Now, it's probably not going to be in season 4. It could be in the Mandoverse movie, but I just don't think that he's going to last all that long. And it's also a catalyst for the character of Grogu and Bo-Katan and all these other characters, because Din Djarin is the connecting piece to all of them. Like, Bo-Katan's connected to Boba Fett's connected to Grogu's connected to Ahsoka's connected to Luke Skywalker. They're all interconnected, and the person at the middle of all of that is Din Djarin. So his death is going to mean so much more to all these different people. Cobb Vanth, Boba Fett, he even semi-knows Luke Skywalker via Grogu. Grogu, Ahsoka, he's very close with. Bo-Katan, the Mandalorians, Greef Karga, IG-11, even Cara Dune. He's connected to all these people. So he is that glue. And if you're going to have like an Avengers level movie, you're going to need somebody to avenge in Din Djarin. So I just see Din Djarin being the death as a catapult to Grogu's character arc moving further down the line. And I just don't see it going that way anymore. Cappy says, he wears a helmet. Anyone can replace him. That's true, but it's more the voice. He is the voice of Din Djarin, and he's going to continue to be the voice of Din Djarin, of course, forever. But I don't think Din Djarin's going to last forever. I don't think Din Djarin's set up to be a character that lives past the sequel trilogy. That's not the case. So at some point here, his death is going to be a meaningful one, but it's going to happen eventually. But what do you guys think? Do you think Din Djarin's going to die at some point, sometime soon? Your pal Joe says, Merry Christmas, everybody. Merry Christmas back to you, Joe. Ian says, nah, you need a game plan and an endpoint. That is true, Ian. You need an endpoint to your story, but you need more of an endpoint to your characters' arcs. You don't need an endpoint for the characters, you just need an endpoint for the character arc. So the same way that The Mandalorian Season 3 felt like a good end for Din and Grogu, felt like a good end for Moff Gideon and all the Mandalorians who reclaimed their own homeworld, that doesn't make it the end for their stories. Din and Grogu are going to continue to do things in the galaxy, and we're probably going to get to see more of that in The Mandalorian's 4th season. But Season 3 was still an end to a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff from those first 3 seasons. Yeah. Ian says, Grogu is Darth Great. I doubt it. Seriously doubt it. But you never know. You never know. Cappy says, don't say that. I just bought his Lego figure. You just bought Din Djarin's Lego figure, so don't say he's going to die. Well, it'll just increase in value, you know? Well, today, of course, if you guys weren't here, which we got a lot more viewers now, so I'll repeat myself. Today, we're doing the final giveaway of the holiday season. We've been doing a giveaway every Saturday for the last 5 Saturdays, and today is that last one, and it's the biggest one of them all. We've been giving away shirts and pop figures, as we've said before, and today is a awesome cool, as the topic of discussion today is Mando Season 4 anyway, but the M1 Starfighter Lego set with Din Djarin, Grogu, BD1, and Pelimoto. It is quite the cool Lego set, so if you are a member, you are instantly put into the spin that wheel, of course, that we do later on in the stream. A chance to win that M1 Starfighter. So, yeah. John Groom, what's up? John says, my bet is that Mando will be taken out by Thrawn. I expect it to be a spectacular end and probably be the inspiration for other heroes to team up. Yeah, I kind of think that's going to be what's going to happen. Yeah. I think Thrawn is going to be taking over the galaxy in The Mandalorian's 4th season. He's going to be building up to power, and then he's probably going to have some one big punch at the end of that 4th season. Maybe it's he goes to Coruscant. Maybe it's he takes over Mandalore. I don't know. But there's going to be one big punch that Thrawn throws in that end of 4th season to set up the movie. Because there has to be something that allows fans to be excited for this Mandoverse movie that draws them in. So season 4, without a doubt, is going to end on a massive cliffhanger in which Thrawn is taking over something. Taking over maybe Coruscant or something else. We don't know. But yeah. Chris, what's up? Chris says, Have you watched Rebel Moon Part 1 on Netflix? Some people are having some mixed reviews off of it, but rather all I kind of enjoyed it. Okay. But there was some mixed opinions on it. So, Chris, I just finished watching it before this stream. I watched it this morning. And I'll give you my review after we finish this Mando Season 4 news. We'll put it that way, okay? I'll make you wait in anticipation. Did any of you guys watch Rebel Moon yet? Anybody in the chat? Give me a 1 into the chat if you watched Rebel Moon. I watched it this morning. And if you have watched it, rank it out of 10. Rank it out of 10. I'll give you my ranking later on in the stream after we finish this Mando news, but yeah. Just rank it out of 10 if you've seen it. If you've seen it, of course. Hale says he has to fall victim to Thrawn, surely. Yeah, I think Din Djarin's end is bound to happen to Thrawn. Thrawn has to be really brought in the 4th season of Mando as just a badass villain. Because Ahsoka did a good job of bringing him into live action and setting him up as a threat that has existed already and showed his strategic mind a little bit, but again, he's going up against Force users, so it's hard to do. With Mando Season 4, of course, Grogu is a Force user, but with Din Djarin and Boba Fett and Bo-Katan and the Skeleton Crew and Fennec Shand and all these bounty hunters and heroes, Carson Teva, Harrison Dula, they aren't Force users. So Thrawn's going to be going up against more just normal people, and he's going to get to show his true strength. So I think we're going to get to see some badass Thrawn in The Mandalorian's 4th season. Yeah. Hale also said, I watched Rebel Moon 2, and I thought it was pretty decent. Gave it an 8 out of 10. Chris gave it a 7 out of 10 for me. Interesting. So what are my thoughts on Rebel Moon Part 1? All right, we'll take a little pause on Mando Season 4, and I'll talk about Rebel Moon. Okay, so I just watched Rebel Moon, and here's my take on it. First of all, out of 10, I'd give it probably a 7.5 out of 10. Maybe an 8 if I'm feeling generous, but 7.5 out of 10. And here's why. Yes, it did a real good job of building this world that feels lived in. It feels like there's been this whole thing going around for a long time. It feels like a cool story, cool characters, very well casted. The acting is very, very good. I have 3 major problems with the movie. Major problems. One, and I can really only explain it just visually, okay? So here's my first reason. Slow motion, okay? I know it's Zack Snyder's thing. I've seen the Justice League Snyder cut. I've seen it. It's too much. It's too much slow motion. The entire movie's in slow motion. It's just way, 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 way too much slow motion. Way too much. It takes you completely out of it. You're like, oh, another slow-mo scene? It's like, second thing. Second thing is the soundtrack. When you think of Star Wars, the reason that Star Wars is so much bigger than anything else is John Williams. He creates the soundtrack that's a freaking masterpiece. Everybody knows the Imperial March. Everybody knows the Force theme. Everybody knows all the freaking soundtracks from those movies because they're so damn good. Rebel Moon didn't have that. The soundtrack actually sucked. I hated it. Absolutely hated it. It was as slow as the freaking slow motion. It was so bad. I was not very happy about that. Because it would be like a cool action sequence and it would be like one violin. That's the mini violin that Mr. Krabs plays. Yeah, not impressed with the soundtrack. Not impressed at all. So slow-mo, soundtrack. And the third thing was, other than the girl, which her name was Cora, right? And she had another name, which was her real name. Cora was just an alias. and Scargiver was her like Star Killer name or Skywalker name, whatever. Other than her, I could not name you another character from that movie. I could not. Like, I don't know any of their names. None of them. The bad guy was cool, but I couldn't tell you his name. Literally all of the other people that they picked up, the laser sword lady, could not tell you. The Star-Lord guy, could not tell you. The guy with the long hair who rode the flying horse thing, could not tell you. Literally, the guy who goes on the entire adventure with Korra, I could not tell you his name. I don't know his name. The story just wasn't good enough. Or the story was good, but the way the story was told wasn't good enough to even allow me to know their names. Like, didn't even allow me to know their names. With Star Wars, I feel like it's really, really easy. We got to go save the princess. Oh, who's the princess? Princess Leia. We know that. It's said many times throughout the movie. And it's not like thrown at you like, her name's Princess Leia, her name's Princess Leia, her name's Princess Leia. You just know that from watching the movie. Luke Skywalker, one of the opening scenes is Aunt Peru screaming, Luke, Luke. And then you immediately know, boom, his name's Luke. Easy, done. It's called good writing. Darth Vader. I mean, Lord Vader is said so many times. Darth Vader is said so many times in that movie. And it's not for you to know his name, but it's also for you to know his name. Ben Kenobi. Oh, you mean Obi-Wan Kenobi? Okay, now I know his name. I'm not going to forget that. Chewie. Han Solo. Like, these are easy names to remember. Rebel Moon's like, blah, 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 blah. Okay. I have a fourth reason I didn't like this movie. Or I did like the movie. Let's be, okay. As much as I'm shitting on this movie, I did like it. I enjoyed watching it. I thought it was a cool story. I thought it built up a world that I could enjoy watching more of. I'm excited for part 2. But my fourth problem with it, and actually I just found a fifth one. My fourth problem with the movie is the best character is the frickin' robot who's in like 2 scenes. He's Boba Fett. He has 4 lines, and he's in the movie for 6 minutes. And he's the best character. The best character. Yeah. Yeah. It was bad. Just kidding. It was good. I did enjoy the movie. 7.5 out of 10 is a high score. I did enjoy the movie. But my fifth thing, and this will be the last thing I promise, my fifth problem with this movie was the best scene of the entire film is the very end when the bad guy, who again, I can't tell you his name, he dies. They pick him up like Vader on Mustafar and put him in this bubble. And he like goes into this, spoiler alert, by the way, goes into this bubble. And huge spoiler, I apologize. He goes to this bubble, and he gets transported somewhere to the king, who is standing over an ice lake with these cool fish going around. And then he tells him that it's his daughter and all this other shit. And I'm just spoiling the entire movie now, but I did give you a spoiler at that time, so you can't blame me. And then he breaks the ice and he falls into it. And then they bring him back to, like, that was the best scene in the entire freaking movie. And I had to wait 2.5 hours to see it. And it wasn't in slow motion, which was fantastic. Yeah. Rebel Moon, 7.5 out of 10. Too much slow-mo. Not enough of the best characters. Couldn't tell you their names. And terrible soundtrack. Terrible. 7.5 out of 10. I did just crap on the movie for like, 5 minutes. But it was a good... I did enjoy watching it. It might sound insane, but I did enjoy watching it. As much as I just shit on the movie. Yeah. Okay, where was I? Let's see. Catherine says, Chris, I watched the Real Rejects review. They basically said the same as you. There you go. Zach Attack, what's up? Zach says, I haven't watched it, but I plan on it. Well, I hope I didn't just spoil the entire movie for you, but I think I did. Chris says, and then I'm guessing after season 4 of The Mandalorian is done, it will include Luke Skywalker cameo as a CGI version. Oh yeah, I think Luke will definitely be involved. He might not be in Mando season 4, but he'll be involved in the movie for sure. 100%. Yeah. John Groom says, gonna watch it after I finish here. Oh, well, there you go, John. I just spoiled the entire movie for you. I apologize. Chris gave it a 7 out of 10. I give it a 7.5 out of 10. It's Me says 6 out of 10. There you go. Cappy says, then Grogu becomes sad and grows up to become Snoke. Yeah, no. Snoke doesn't have any big pointy ears, and he's a massive giant. Grogu's the exact opposite of him. Cappy says, Yoda was not impressed with the slow-mo. Was not impressed at the slow-mo? What? I'm confused. This Yoda. I get you now. Sorry. Chris says, I just hope that the slow-mo will be in Rebel Moon Part 2, and I just hope that the slow-mo will be in Rebel Moon Part 2, and the soundtrack also. Oh, won't be in. I get you. Yeah, I hope the second one is a lot better. Yeah, for sure. Let's talk about Heir to the Empire. What do you want to talk about Heir to the Empire? What about it? Zach Attack says, I heard that Zack Snyder is holding on to a director's cut of the film, which will be released later. And that will basically be a whole different movie, which I think is weird. I think that's definitely weird, but I also have heard that movie's going to be rated R. The director's cut's going to be rated R. And that makes a lot of sense. When you watch this movie, you're like, I can see where that's going to be rated R. I can see where that's going to be rated R. I can see where that... Like, there's not a lot of blood in this movie, or actually, like, none at all. But there's a lot of instances where there could be a lot of gory, bloody scenes. And I'm sure the rated R version is just going to be that. It's just going to have more blood, more goriness, and just be like that. Like, there was a lot of instances in the movie where you could see it being rated R. Yeah. But it is very strange to do that. Yeah. And when you look at Zack Snyder's cut of the Justice League, it's even more slow-mo, so I would want to die if it was even more slow-mo than the actual release. Yupala Joe says, it's getting raked by the critics. 5.9 on IMDb and 24 on Rotten Tomatoes. Yeah, and we've read the critics' reviews, and I disagree with them. I do. I really do. I think it's a quality movie. It's well produced, well acted. The characters are really good. I just have 5 big problems with it. Slow-mo, don't know the characters' names, and I forgot the other 3. Best characters, the droid dude that we barely see. The best scene's the very end. And I forget my 5th one, damn it. But whatever. I had those 5 major problems with the movie, but I still enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. And I look forward to seeing more stories in that world. Yeah. Yupala Joe says, I just saw Dune recently and I absolutely loved it. Dune is good. I feel like Rebel Moon is more like Dune than it is Star Wars. In a big, big way. Like the story is way more like Dune than Star Wars. It's Me says, what do you think will happen in Heir to the Empire? I think we get to see Zetos. What do I think is going to happen in Dave Filoni's movie Heir to the Empire? Well, I think Thrawn is definitely going to take over. Probably take over Coruscant. And you'll see a massive war of Thrawn, Night Sisters, the Remnant of the Empire versus the Mandalorian characters, Boba Fett, Ahsoka probably, if they go get her back, if season 2 comes out before the movie. And then you're going to have Luke Skywalker involved in a big, big way with Han and Leia, too. Yeah. Thrawn gets an air fryer. That would be cool. Chris says, do you remember season 2 clone tanks with the Snoke clones? Yes. On Navarro, there was the cloning facility with the Snoke clone in it. Maybe they might do some Baby Yoda Snoke clones, and I hope we get something like that for the TV show with Luke. Yeah, I think you're definitely going to see some cloning going on. Like, that's not the last you're going to see of cloning. When they were using Grogu's blood, I believe in that same scene, you see Dr. Pershing say something along the lines of, we don't have enough of the blood from Grogu to complete the clones that they wanted to make. But at the same time, Zepho. Ooh, interesting. But at the same time, Luke Skywalker would be the perfect person to steal blood from and kind of create clones. Yeah. So we'll see. It's Me says, what are the chances of seeing Anakin? Again, you mean? Because Anakin, of course, is in Ahsoka. Seeing Anakin again, I feel, is going to be a little bit more difficult. Because the way that they put Anakin into Ahsoka was through the World Between Worlds, and then at the end as a Force Ghost. But the Force Ghost version of Anakin, I feel like, wasn't really there. Like, he was there, but he wasn't, if that makes sense. I feel like when Ahsoka's looking off into the distance, she doesn't see Anakin. She's looking around the whole scene. She's never looking directly at him. So I don't think Anakin is really visible to Ahsoka in that instance. Will we see more Force Ghost Anakin remains to be seen, but again, I think it's less likely than people might think. Cappy says all they need is Luke's hand. Well, we know for sure that they do have Luke's hand. It's on Exegol. That's been confirmed in canon comics. But yeah, whether or not they use that hand, yeah. Well, let me show you what I'm talking about. They already have his hand, so there's something going on with that. Luke's hand on Exegol. So Luke's hand's on Exegol in a Vader comic right here. Boom. This is canon. This is on Exegol. This is canon. This is when Vader goes to Exegol. And he can use this to make anything. That's not really what they're referring to. But yes, that is Luke's hand. It is on Exegol. And they could pretty much make anything out of that. So that could become a problem. And honestly, I hope they go down that route. I hope they go down the route of Luke's being cloned. There's a clone version of Luke. Luke versus Luke, like they did in Heir to the Empire. And that would also drive Luke to go into hiding, cut himself off from the Force so that the Empire can't use his midichlorians or his Force abilities or his blood to create more clones and harm the galaxy. It's possible that Snoke is a creation from Luke's blood, which would make the sequels so much cooler in my own opinion, but I don't know. We'll see. Let me ask you guys. If Luke Skywalker's sort of disappearance onto Ahch-To is explained via cloning, like he doesn't want his blood to be taken by Palpatine, by the Empire to create more Force clones, would that be a good enough excuse for you? Would that make more sense? Would that help you enjoy the sequels more? Like, would you watch The Last Jedi in a different way? John Grimm says maybe Luke kills Mando. That would be crazy. That would be crazy. What if they see Luke, the clone version of Luke, they think he's the real version of Luke, and then he just starts killing people? Jay says, yeah, wow. So it would, you would see it in a different way. That is interesting. I'm going to end this poll from earlier, just because I forgot I had it up. But it still does have 64% of you guys wanting the Mando movie over of season 4, which is interesting. Jay says, Mike, the Aquaman movie wasn't as bad as critics say it was. I give it a 7.5 out of 10. Really? I'm probably never going to watch that movie unless maybe I'm just bored one day and watch it on streaming. It's just like there's nothing to it, you know? I'm sure it's a quality movie. I'm sure it's pretty good, but there's really nothing there. Nothing that intrigues me enough to go pay money to go see it, you know? I'm glad you liked it though, Jay. Chris says, just imagine if it included Ben Solo's storyline where the Jedi Temple got burned down and Snoke's backstory with the Red Guards. Yeah, I feel like this time period with the Mandoverse is just sort of getting started. And that's why I want a trilogy to happen rather than just this one-off movie. If a trilogy happens, you get a full story from start to finish of what happens with Thrawn and leads into what happens with the First Order rising to power, leading perfectly into the sequel trilogy. It just seems like a no-brainer. Yeah. Chris says, and imagine if Snoke's clone is a clone of Luke Skywalker. I know. Maybe not a clone of Luke Skywalker specifically, but what if his blood is used to create Luke Skywalker? That would be amazing. Yeah. Audrey, what's up, says, I really hope they don't use Luke's hand to tie to Rey and say that she is related now. I don't think that's possible. I think it's more possible that you could see Snoke be related to Luke in some way via the blood or whatever, or seeing a Luke clone. Now that we've seen Moff Gideon clones, I think that's more likely. I do agree with you. I really hope they don't do that with Rey and just say, oh, this is how Rey is a Skywalker because she's created by Skywalker blood. I would hate that, but yeah, I kind of could see them doing that. Sadly, I could see them doing that, yeah. Ian says, I thought Snoke was a Plagueis clone. Well, that was the theory for a long time. Everybody thought Snoke was going to be Plagueis and all that stuff, but it doesn't seem like that's going to be the case. Just because Plagueis really hasn't been brought into canon. Well, he is canon, but he hasn't been brought into canon in a big way. Like, he is canon because, of course, his name is mentioned in Revenge of the Sith. He is Palpatine's master. That is canon information. But we haven't seen Plagueis in canon. And Plagueis is a species named the Mun, and that's not what Snoke is, because we've seen Mun in Star Wars before. Audrey says, just bring Ben Solo back as an actual Skywalker. The hand can be used for something else. I think the hand can be used to create a Luke clone for this Mandoverse time period. And that will drive Luke into hiding for the sequels because he doesn't want his blood to be taken to make more clones. It makes more sense. But bringing Ben Solo back is also a good plan because a lot of people don't want to see this Rey movie, and Ben Solo is a character that was beloved for the sequel trilogy, and more fans want to see more of him than Rey. Zach says no, because Luke would have never given up and gone into hiding. He'd face it. But what if he can't? What if he knows about the ability to force? What if he comes into contact with a force-sensitive version of himself, a cloned version of himself, and he barely defeats it? And then he knows that if he sticks around, a whole army of that will be created, and he has no hope at all. His only way to help the galaxy is to go into hiding. I'm not saying it's the perfect thing. It's the only way to explain the shittiness that is the writing of The Last Jedi. That's more of what I'm saying. You can't fix what's already broken unless you help to try to explain what's already been broken. Catherine says, talking about the generational preferences of boomers, like serial shows are Xers, Y, etc. See shows as filler. I still don't know what you're referring to, Catherine, but I am not a boomer, so I guess I can't relate. Chris says, I heard some pretty bad criticisms on the Aquaman 2 movie, and the audience that I heard did not like it that did like the first one a lot. Yeah, I haven't heard the greatest news about Aquaman 2, but again, I don't plan on seeing it, so who cares? Yeah. Tamara Morrison is in Aquaman 2. Well, that makes sense because he was in Aquaman 1. He's his dad, no? He's Aquaman's dad. Yeah. Cappy says, Snoke Skywalker. Oh, God. Oh, God. Here we go again. Din Snoke. Din Djarin adopts Snoke as his own child. Audrey says, yeah, they could use Luke's hand for cloning. I agree. And yeah, won't be watching the Rey movie unless Adam Driver is in it. A lot of fans actually agree with you on that. A lot of fans don't want to see the Rey movie because they don't want to see more Rey. They want to see more Finn. They want to see more Ben. Probably even want to see more Poe Dameron. But when it comes to Rey, people are just so turned off by the character that this movie is going to be so damn interesting when it comes out. Because most Star Wars fans that enjoy Star Wars are going to think of it two different ways. One, I'm just going to go watch it. It's Star Wars. I might enjoy it. They might have learned their lesson. They might do something different with the character. I'm going to go watch it. And the other Star Wars fan is going to go, I'm definitely not watching this. I don't like the character. And unless somebody that I really respect their opinion tells me that it's really, really good, I'm probably not going to go watch it. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see how much money this movie makes on its opening weekend versus its second weekend versus how much money it's just going to make in the box office in total. It's going to be a big mystery because the trailer is going to do a lot. The title's going to do a lot. What they confirm, what they don't confirm in this movie is going to do a lot to how the box office does. Because if they straight out from the beginning show us in the trailer that Ben Solo's back or Finn is back, then people are going to be intrigued and probably go see it. If they don't do that and try to keep stuff a mystery, it's going to be a disaster. Yeah. Anthony, what's up? Anthony says, hi, Mike. Sorry, I signed on to be present for this stream. Wait, what? Sorry, I signed on to be present for this stream. But laundry and lack of sleep got in the way. I'm here and I watch the recap when I missed Mando. What I miss? Mando season 4. Recap: Rebel Moon was good but bad, and Mando season 4 is going to be a show, not a movie, and start filming in February. There you go. Chris says, imagine if Luke Skywalker, Supreme Leader Snoke clone, faced against his own clone, like in Legends. That would be so dope. Yeah, it would be cool to see Luke versus Luke. I'm down for it. I'm definitely down for it. 100% down for it. All right. Let's do the giveaway. Let's do the giveaway. Why not? Let's do the giveaway. Should we give away? All right. Last chance for any of you guys who want to get instant access and a 1 in 26 chance to win this awesome, cool N1 Starfighter Lego. You can become a member. It's just 99 cents a month. It is in the description below to sign up to become a member. So do it now before you lose your chance. Also, we are doing a subscription goal. Boom, there it is. The subscription goal is 4,000 before the end of the year. At first, it seemed very, very impossible to reach, but we are very, very close now and could hit it before Christmas, which would be insane. But that's the goal, 4,000. We hit 2,000 right after Ahsoka started. So we've grown double since then, and that's absolutely insane. I can't thank you guys enough for that, but the goal is 4,000, and we're trying to reach that. So let's get that going as well. But if you want a chance to win this N1 Starfighter, you have to become a member right this very second, because we're going to do the giveaway. And let's pull up how many members we got right now. Let's pull up the list of members. Oops, hang on. Pull up this list. Boom, 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 boom. 26. We're up to 26 members right now. Hang on. 26 members. Let's see the list of them. Okay. So, if you see your name on this list, you have a 1 in 26 chance to win the M1 Starfighter. If you see your name, 1 is going to be your pal Joe for being the first ever member, all the way up to Honey Badger, who just rejoined as 26. 1 in 26 chance to win. We're going to spin that wheel, of course. So can I get some spin that wheels in the chat? Can we get the chant going for spin that wheel? We got to add this up to 26. 26. Enter. All right, let's spin this wheel, ladies and gentlemen, for the N1 Starfighter, for what we've all been waiting for, the final giveaway of the holiday season. Spin that wheel. Who's it gonna be? Number 9. Wow, look at how close number 9. Look at how close that is to number 8. Number 9. Starting from the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is Tony. 8, 9. Journey before something. Journey before destination. You have won the N1 Starfighter. So if you're in the chat right now, hit me up on Discord or on Instagram or on Twitter or wherever you want to hit me up. Hit me up in the DM so I can get this out to you as soon as possible. Oh yeah, Journey. What was it? Damn it. Journey before destination. Hit me up. John Groom, that was very close. I apologize. You were right there. It was very close. So close. So close. So close. I know. It's devastating. Journey before destination. Hit me up. We'll get that out to you as soon as possible. Let's see where the subscriber count is at as well. Here. We're up to 3,986. So only 14 more subscribers before we hit 4,000. That is absolutely insane. That is insane. So if you have another account on YouTube, if you have friends, go tell your friends. Go spread the word. Let's get to 4,000 today. Let's do it today. Hit that subscribe button. Be very, very generous. Let's try to get to that subscriber goal. All right. Let me get back to the chat here. Ian says, who's got the money for the 2 CGI Luke Skywalker fighting? It will cost a little bit. Luke versus Luke, all CGI, or all deepfake. That will cost a little bit, but it'll definitely be worth watching. John Groom says, if Rey is Palpatine's granddaughter, technically not, but yeah, then does that mean that that we have a Palpatine sex scene on the horizon? What? When will Palpatine have time for a relationship? What? Oh, I get what you mean. So Palpatine made a clone of himself, and that's Rey's dad. So technically she's not the granddaughter of Palpatine when you really think about it. She is more like the daughter of Palpatine, but also the daughter of a cloned version of Palpatine. So I don't know. It's a very confusing thing, but you won't be seeing a sex scene from Palpatine anytime soon. That's for sure. Ian says, I have an original N1 Starfighter from the Phantom Menace when it released in 1999. Ooh, that's very cool, Ian. A Lego set of that? That's pretty cool. Audrey says, they explain it further in the books, but I believe that Rey's father was a clone. Yeah, so Rey's father was a clone named Dathan, I believe. Dathan. Of Palpatine. And he wasn't Force sensitive. And he actually escapes Exegol and finds Miramir, who is Rey's mom. And they fall in love and have a kid who turns out to be Rey, the granddaughter of Palpatine. She's not actually, though. John Groom says, so close. I know, you were right on the thing right there. Ian says, yeah, Rey's dad was a non-Force sensitive clone of Palpatine. Yes, named Dathan, I believe. Audrey says, however, Adam Christopher, who wrote Shadows of the Sith, retconned a ton of stuff. He is even now retconning The Last Jedi himself, or Last Jedi stuff, and proud of it on X. It's a disaster, though it is a disaster through a lot of it. Wait, what? Wrote Shadow of the Sith? Yeah, that's the book that's all from. And retcons a ton of stuff. Shadow of the Sith doesn't really retcon anything, though. It doesn't. It's pretty good with not retconning stuff, actually. It keeps the sequels the same without, and actually expands upon them in a big, big way without retconning them. Audrey follows up and says, I think the movies will take precedent, though, since the books do whatever they want. John wouldn't be wrong if watching the movie, though. Oh, like the granddaughter scene? Yeah, so in the movie, it is said that Rey is the granddaughter of Palpatine. That book explains that it's complicated, to say the least. Yeah. Yeah. Put the Santa hat back on, you know? It's Christmas time. We're spreading Christmas cheer by giving giveaways. And I want the Santa hat on my head, okay? I hope everybody's having a good holiday season. Is everybody doing good this holiday season? Yeah? Celebrating? Having fun? Let me take out this big ass cup. Dun dun! What else we got for Star Wars news? Anything? Anything going on? How about this? Rogue Squadron. Remember the Patty Jenkins movie, Rogue Squadron? Give me a 1 into the chat if you remember Patty Jenkins' Rogue Squadron Star Wars movie. Remember that? It's supposed to be like the next Star Wars movie. Remember that? Audrey says, whoa, that cup looks like it. Wait, sorry. Says, whoa, that cup looks like looks old. Can't believe it's been 4 years since. Yes, so this is, Audrey, I know you're pretty new to the channel, but this is the good cup that follows orders. Whenever I bring this out, a bunch of people in the chat, if you see GCFO or good cups follow orders, yeah, that's this cup. It's been through some shit over the last 4 years. Yeah. Ben says, it's a simp movie, though. What's up, Ben? I don't know what you're referring to, though. What movie? Rebel Moon? Or the Mando movie? Or the Rey movie? Or The Last Jedi? What movie are you referring to, Ben? Knights of Melvin, what's up? Says, what's up, a guy that really that loves real Star Wars? How we doing, Melvin? Melvin, are you spreading that holiday joy on your channel? Are you loving Star Wars every day? Appreciate you tuning in, Melvin. Yes, so you guys remember, is that what you're talking about? Yes. So you guys remember Rogue Squadron, the Patty Jenkins movie? Rogue Squadron was supposed to be released right now. We're supposed to be watching Rogue Squadron right now. So let me zoom in on this. So Rogue Squadron was originally supposed to release in December of 2023. We were supposed to be watching Rogue Squadron right now, which was announced back, I believe, in December of 2020 during that Investors Day live stream where they announced all these different projects. Rogue Squadron was on that list, and it was given the release date of December 22nd of 2023, which was yesterday. So we were supposed to be watching Rogue Squadron today or yesterday, a Star Wars movie on the big screen, and of course, that didn't happen. Now, Rogue Squadron, did you guys want to see that movie? Was Rogue Squadron like something you were looking forward to? Because honestly, I mean, I wasn't all that excited for it. Here's the thing. It might have been good. It was going to be like an X-Wing fighter movie, probably around the New Republic. We don't really know. Could have been cool. Could have been cool. But as the first Star Wars movie since the sequels, since Rise of Skywalker, is that what you wanted to see? Zack Attack says, yeah, I remember Rogue Squadron. Got canned because Patty Jenkins was made a bad Wonder Woman film. Yeah, that'll do it. That'll do it. Wonder Woman 2 really, really was terrible, but that's not the only reason that it got canceled. There's a lot more going on behind the scenes when it comes to Star Wars movies. I mean, the amount of Star Wars projects that have been canceled since Kathleen Kennedy took over the reins back in 2012 is insane. We've gotten less movies than have been canceled at this point. So, although it was some of the reason being that Wonder Woman 2 sucked, also it was a lot of just Kathleen Kennedy sucks. And Audrey says, and I remember D&D 2 who got hired for a Star Wars movie. Who's D&D? Oh, Dan and Dave. Yes, Dan and Dave, who got hired for a Star Wars movie, but ended up being fired because of the terrible last season of Game of Thrones. 2019 was a rough year. 2 horrible endings, Star Wars and Game of Thrones. Yeah. See, I'm one that wasn't watching Game of Thrones when it first came out. I binged it after it all came out, and I loved it from start to finish. Well, not finish, of course. Season 8 was a disaster. Although I didn't hate Season 8 as much as most people did. I think it's because of the waiting every week and week and week and week and week for years for that 8th season, and it really disappointed. Me being somebody who just binged the whole thing, didn't have to wait years and years to see the ending, and it wasn't as good as I hoped it would be, but it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be because I've heard it was terrible from everybody. So, yeah. It wasn't the ending that it should have been, but should Dan and Dave have lost their Star Wars movie? That's a whole nother conversation. John Groom says, Wonder Woman 2 is still the worst superhero movie ever made. It's pretty bad. I've seen some pretty bad superhero movies in my time, and that could be one of them. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. 100%. Cappy says, it would have been Star Wars Top Gun. Yeah, it probably would have been. And after Top Gun's success, you would have thought that it would have stuck to it, you know? See you later, Catherine. I'm glad you had a good time. Hope you have a good holiday season. If you celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas. Ian says Rogue Squadron could have been great. I think it could have been great too, but I think the problem that it had was when it comes to Star Wars movies, it's usually either a trilogy or something extremely important, or I guess a spin-off like Solo or Rogue One. Rogue One and Rogue Squadron, I mean, come on. If you're going to release Rogue One in, 2016, 2015? When did Rogue One come out? 2016? Something like that? Yeah, 2016. You release Rogue One in 2016, and then you release Rogue Squadron in 2023. Us Star Wars fans are going to know the difference. Normie fans are going to be like, what the hell are you talking about? Rogue Squadron, Rogue One, is this a sequel to Rogue One? It would be confusing, for sure. Yeah. Audrey says, I did want to see Rogue Squadron. I had marked it on my calendar, but honestly, it wouldn't have been able to compete with Top Gun. People would have compared it to... wouldn't have been able to compete with Top Gun. People would have compared it to that, honestly. Yeah, I'm sure it wouldn't have been able to compete with Top Gun. Top Gun and Top Gun Maverick are incredible films, and I'm sure whatever Rogue Squadron would have been with Patty Jenkins would not have lived up to that at all. Yeah. Anthony, what's up? Anthony says, Mike, this is the question. How cognizant is the brain trust of how hobbled the Star Wars franchise is? And do they believe that the sequel trilogy is the main cause? And could the next film fix things? Okay, well, that's a lot. So, how cognizant is the brain trust and how hobbled the Star Wars franchise is? Let's take that piece first. I think they've recognized what the sequel trilogy did to the fandom. It's more of a whether or not they're going to try to fix it, if that makes sense. Now, the second half of that is, do I believe that the sequel trilogy is the main cause? Yes. Before the sequel trilogy, the Star Wars fandom was a very united front. Now, of course, there were people who didn't like the prequel trilogies, but those people were far and few between. When the sequel trilogy came out, there was a massive divide, even with The Force Awakens, which I thought was a quality movie. But from The Force Awakens to The Last Jedi was when this massive divide happened, because Rogue One came out in between, and Rogue One was a beloved movie by almost all Star Wars fans. Last Jedi was where the split really happened, and it was a majority split of most people disliked the movie. So the sequel trilogy is definitely the cause for this discourse in the Star Wars fandom. It has been since the start. And the final part is, should the next film fix things? If the next film is a Rey movie, the chances of them fixing things with that Rey movie is highly low. Highly low. It's very low. It's probably not going to happen. The Rey movie, unless it's a perfect masterpiece that helps with the character of Rey, brings back Adam Driver in some way, completes Finn's story arc that was neglected through the entire sequel trilogy. It's possible that it does those things, but it's also possible that it doesn't, and it's a very big failure. And that's not a good thing when it's the first Star Wars movie after the sequel trilogy. So whether or not the Rey movie is going to fix things remains to be seen, and it has a massive uphill battle to get there. But it's definitely a possibility. We'll put it that way. Knights of Melvin says, Star Wars Top Gun? And then laughs at me. I mean, obviously it wouldn't have been at the level of Top Gun, but it would have been something like that. It would have been a movie centered around X-Wing pilots. It would have been like Top Gun in Star Wars. Yeah. Ian says, I need a shirtless volleyball scene in Star Wars. Yeah. There you go, Ian. Let's start a petition for that. Tony, what's up, Tony? Says, Tony finally wakes up. How we doing, Tony? Appreciate you coming. Appreciate you. Audrey says, I liked episode 7 and 8. Sorry if people hate me for this. Don't worry about it. And episode 9, the ending honestly split even the sequel fans. They had to. Well, yeah. I mean, because episode 9 takes everything that episode 8 did and just reverses it. Episode 8 kills off Snoke. It makes Kylo the new villain. it tells us that Rey is a nobody. And it does all these things. Then episode 9 makes Rey a Palpatine and then a Skywalker. It brings back Palpatine to make Kylo not the main villain. It turns Kylo from going full dark side to now back to the light. And it pretty much just reverses everything about Luke Skywalker's character from The Last Jedi to The Rise of Skywalker, because now he's saying I was wrong as a Force ghost and all this other stuff. So I liked episode 7. I did. I enjoy it as a movie. I like to throw it on every once in a while. It's not my go-to for a Star Wars movie, but it is the best of the sequel trilogy. Episode 8 really pushes me off big time. Although I'm a more open-minded Star Wars fan than most, I can see it be altered in future endeavors. But episode 9 is definitely not helping episode 8 at all. So for the sequel fans who loved episode 8, episode 9 turns them completely off. Yeah. John Groom says, things need to be fixed before the Rey movie comes out. Yeah, 100%. I think the Rey movie shouldn't be the first thing that gets released after the sequels. That's just dumb. It's just really, really stupid. Really stupid. That's why I wanted The Mandalorian Season 4 to be a movie, honestly. I want The Mandalorian Season 4 to be a movie, to not only be the first of a Mandoverse trilogy, but also to be the first movie before the Rey movie comes out. It's just stupid to have the Rey movie be the first thing that gets released, unless it's a masterpiece. This all is dependent upon how good the Rey movie is, and with the name of Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy as director, does not give me hope. Stephen Knight gives me a little bit of hope, but the two together does not. Yeah. Audrey says, yeah, I agree. The Rey movie has to get it right. It does. It has to get it right. Not only the character of Rey, but it has to get a good villain. It has to get the character of Finn right. It has to get all of this right. A new Jedi Order is extremely important for the future of Star Wars. If Grogu's not there, if Ahsoka's not there, if Ezra's not there, that all needs to be explained. Big time. Big time. Yeah. Anthony says, Mike, what I mean is, do you believe that the majority of people running Star Wars think that they need to fix Star Wars? Or are they devoted, blinded, and doubling down instead? I think they see the need to fix it. And the best news that we've gotten over the last probably year is that Dave Filoni got a promotion. It's the best news we got all year. Dave Filoni has gotten the promotion, and I know Melvin's in the chat still, and I know he's not going to like that. But Dave Filoni gets this promotion, and it's the best thing that could possibly happen. Because now, not only is it a new guy in charge of this stuff, but it's also a creative mind that we've loved from the start. From Clone Wars to Rebels to Mando to Ahsoka. We've loved this guy. From Tales of the Jedi, Bad Batch, all of it. And him being in charge is not only a different mind who saw what happened with the sequel trilogy and knows how to fix it, which he's already shown us time and time again with the Mandoverse. But it's also fresh blood in the system. So the people who have already been at Lucasfilm with Kathleen Kennedy and all these other people, executives, higher-ups, that were the problem, that still are the problem, now there's a new fresh blood in the system with Dave Filoni to change the system from the top down. It's very important. So Dave Filoni being in charge or an executive producer on every single project that will ever come out from here on out is extremely important. So to answer your question, I don't think they're blinded and doubling down. I think they are trying to make changes. With Dave Filoni getting this new promotion is the perfect example of that. Yeah. Cappy says, make things right and make the Rey movie a comedy. Making a Star Wars comedy, that will make things right, for sure. No. Audrey says, they are in a predicament now where they don't really have a ton of sequel fans left. All I really see are Rey Sky fans, and there aren't that many of them. I definitely agree it will be interesting. Yeah, I mean, how they go about this Rey movie is going to really show how much they've learned from the sequel trilogy. It's as simple as that. I mean, did they learn their lesson from the sequel trilogy? Yes or no? Will be completely clear to us after this Rey movie gets released. Now we'll have to wait 2 years for it to be released, but we'll know. We'll know right away if they've learned their lesson. If this Rey movie's a masterpiece, extremely good, rights all the wrongs of the sequel trilogy, then they've learned their lesson. If it's a continuation of the bullshit that happened in that sequel trilogy, then we're going to know that we're in trouble. We're in big, big trouble. But again, Dave Filoni getting this promotion is the biggest hope that we could get. Jay says, I don't know how anyone likes episode 9 or 8 or 9. They both suck. Well, here's the thing. I'm not the biggest fan of the two movies. I can sit and watch them without throwing up or anything, but I can see where people like them. I can see it. I do see the argument. And a lot of people have come to me and said, oh, I loved Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi. And I'm like, please explain it to me. How? And the connection there is Luke Skywalker, where he is in his current state in The Last Jedi, is something that some people needed to see, if that makes sense. It's a similar place to where those people are in their own lives. So they can sort of connect to Luke in that way. I was not in that place in my life, I guess, when I first watched the movie, and I'm sure a lot of other people weren't as well. And it was a complete disconnect from the character that we remember from the original trilogy to now. And with that 30-year gap in between, not explaining any of it, it threw a lot of people off. But some people really enjoyed that version of Luke Skywalker that they got to see. Just happened. Just so happened. Audrey says, they seem to be doubling down, but I don't think they can do that anymore considering how much money they are losing / lost. They will have to change without admitting that they are wrong. Well, they're never, ever going to admit that they are wrong. That will never happen. If that happens, I will I would come on stream here for 2 hours and I just go, wow. I never thought it would happen. Wow. Because it's never going to happen. It's absolutely never going to happen. Because here's the thing. When Hollywood executives, especially Bob Iger, especially Kathleen Kennedy, especially these people at Disney, when they are wrong, they're either going to double down on their wrongs and their losses and just continue to do what they do, or they're going to fix their mistakes and just completely neglect that anything ever happened. Ever. They're not going to admit that they're wrong. That's never going to happen. So if we see a change come the Rey movie, people, fans, we're all going to know that there was a change, but they will never admit that. Tony says, even Hux sucks. When he's revealed as a resistant agent, I'm the spy. That undermines the entire existence of the First Order. Yeah, Hux was such a cool character in The Force Awakens. When he's standing there and he orders the Starkiller base to fire and destroys the entire solar system, that's incredible. He's a cool character. That even in The Last Jedi, he's pretty cool. But when it comes to The Rise of Skywalker, he is the worst. I'm the spy? Ugh. Disgusting. Hate it. Anthony says, I think you're right. Sadly, Kathleen Kennedy's mild acknowledgement that the sequel trilogy could have been better made may be as much as an apology than we'll ever get. Yeah, you'll never see an apology, especially not from Kathleen. Zack Attack says, there's R-rated scenes I liked. Not R-rated. There are scenes that I liked in episode 8, even though I hated the film. As for episode 9, I'm just happy they were able to incorporate Carrie Fisher in some way. And Harrison Ford definitely, I feel, came back for her. Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah. What they did with Carrie in episode 9 was very, very good. After she had passed away in real life, having to see that character get an official ending was cool. Yeah, for sure. And yes, I agree with that. There are some scenes in episode 8 and episode 9 that I do enjoy. It's just the story itself that takes me completely out of it. It's almost the reverse of Rebel Moon. Rebel Moon I had so many complaints about, but I still enjoyed the film. Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker, I didn't like the films, but there's a lot of things that I could tell you that I enjoyed about the films. So it's almost the reverse of Rebel Moon. Audrey says, I agree. They'll never admit that they were wrong. They will just say that that was their plan all along. Yeah, pretty much. By that point, the writing, JJ was just trying to get to the finish line. Rian Johnson had done so much damage, it was impossible to follow up on the promises of Hux and others for that matter. It was hard. It was definitely a hard job that JJ was thrown into after The Last Jedi. But what he did was not what was the best thing that could have happened. You could have had Colin Trevorrow's Duel of the Fates. That would have been way better. Way better. Yeah. Cappy says, they should make the Rey movie into a game as punishment. As a game. Yeah, that's not going to happen. Audrey says, I'm the spy, and they fly now. Rey Skywalker and Ben's death were all in The Rise of Skywalker, and they were terrible. Yes. I felt pretty insulted, and I was a sequel fan. Yeah, they're all pretty bad. They Fly Now is just stupid. I'm the Spy is so dumb. Rey Skywalker, no thanks. And Ben's death could have happened, but just it was unnecessary the way it happened. Like, he brings Rey back to life. They could have both stayed alive. There's no reason for him to die. The biggest one of that is Rey Skywalker. If the movie ended without the Rey Skywalker, it would have been so much better. There was no reason for that. Oh, and of course, somehow Palpatine returned. That movie is full of just one-liners that suck. Somehow Palpatine returned. Oh, Jesus. I think if the material becomes vastly better and rather negates the concepts and styles of 2015 through 2019, that'll be the tactic that will be the tactic admission that things went horribly wrong. Oh yeah, pretty much. That will be the only way that they will admit that things are wrong is if there is a drastic change in the content. Cappy says, so according to Hux's logic, I can commit war crimes and then say I'm the spy to not get persecuted? Yeah. You can blow up an entire solar system and say I'm the spy, and then you're fine. But he does end up dying anyway. Audrey retracted her message. Never mind. Wow, it's already been 2 hours. How does that keep happening? I do have to get on out of here, though. That's why we have an earlier stream today. I got places to be, people to see. Just kidding, but I do have places to be. Got a birthday party today. And, of course, holiday season coming up tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. Christmas Eve tomorrow and Christmas on Monday. We are up to 3,989. 11 more subscribers till we hit that 4,000 mark. Whoo, what a good day that will be. Presents to wrap? Yeah, I got some presents to wrap. I've wrapped some of them, but I still got some more to do. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. 11 more subscribers, guys. We might hit that by tomorrow. That will be an early Christmas present for sure. You forgot to like this stream if you haven't already. What are we doing here? How many likes we got on this? Only 12? Can we please get some more likes on this video? Please. And thank you. Audrey says, at least if Ben died and we saw his Force ghost and she said Rey, just Rey, it would have been better. Let's hope they fix it. Yeah, we didn't even get to see Ben's Force ghost at the end. Yeah. I hope you get to 4K. Thanks, Ian. I think we will make it by tomorrow, actually. I think we're on track to make it by tomorrow, which is incredible. I can't wait. I cannot tell you guys enough how much I appreciate all of you for tuning in and listening to me talk for 2 hours about Star Wars on your holiday weekend. It is very, very nice of you all, and I appreciate all the support and endless support of all of you members and non-members. I appreciate it. So don't forget to smash a like on this video. Happy holidays to all of you guys. And yeah, let's smash a like on this. Hit subscribe so we can get to 4,000. And may the Force be with you. Always, 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 always. Where is that stupid button? Oh yeah. What a great stream. What a great show. Thanks, guys. Happy holidays to all of you. I hope you have a great rest of your evening, a great rest of your lives, and a great rest of your holiday season. And good night, everybody. Yeah, we'll be back on Tuesday for sure, Tony. Of course. Live stream Tuesday, as always. Yeah. And good night, everybody.